So I'm late to the reporting of news in update 18.13, but fuck it, there aren't enough opinions on the internet, so someone's gotta feed those trolls and start flame wars, so that's what I'm here today to do, to share my opinions. Now, Mag and Volt have both received their reworks. I am liking both of them much better now. However, still no fix for Mag wearing a fishbowl on her head and thinking it's cool. Good thing I can get Tennogen stuff when I can. Mag's first ability has pretty much been left untouched, but she has received pretty much the more drastic rework of the two. Shield Polarize is now her third ability and expands in a way reducing shields and armor. A lot of people are screaming nerf on this one ability and calling Mag useless. Well, she went from being able to instantly kill Corpus at nearly any level to dealing damage and debuffing at least 2 out of 3 factions. So, of course it's a nerf compared to that. But she has way more versatility now. And my stance for the argument of needing scaling damage is that having an ability capable of instantly killing enemies that scaled was absurd. You'd have to be crazy to think that they wouldn't ever nerf that. Now, Bullet Attractor, however, is her best ability right now in my opinion. It now persists after the targeted enemy dies, creating a shield that blocks all projectiles, so yes, that includes teammates, and collects them at the center of the bubble. It deals damage over time to enemies inside, and then explodes at the end based on how many projectiles it has gathered up. So this is hands down one of, if not her best ability right now in my opinion. Granted, it now has a similar issue to Snow Globe, being that it blocks all projectiles, and there's no way that I know of to instantly detonate the Bullet Attractor. Perhaps they should make Pole instantly detonate these bubbles like with Snow Globe, since it, well, blocks teammates' fire. But other than that, I'm pretty satisfied with it. Crush, it pretty much functions the way it normally has been for a while now, so no changes there. Now, Volt has received some tweaks as well. His speed doesn't instantly affect his teammates anymore when in range of him. Instead, Volt now drops a coil-like power-up that grants speed to all players that come in contact with it. So you can opt into the speed if you're the kind of player that has difficulty controlling your character at ludicrous speed levels. His shield can now be picked up like a riot shield. It forces you to use your secondary, and it does drain your energy with each step you take, so this is more for minor repositioning or traveling short distances, so be mindful of that. You don't want to be running around with that for extended periods of time. His overload has been renamed to Discharge and now has actually noteworthy crowd control effects. This damages and stuns enemies and pretty much turns them into like stationary Tesla coil electric turret towers that zap nearby enemies. They'll even arc to other enemies that have been crowd controlled by this ability. So he can rack up some damage. Now, don't expect him to instantly kill shit at high levels, but it does add up. I am currently using range builds on both my Mag and Volt, and it works out pretty well. I think the range does need to be experimented with in terms of Mag Shield Polarize, because I notice it seems to adjust the starting position of the wave. So I'm going to have to test that out some more, because I did miss enemies that were too close to me as Mag. So I'm going to have to test and tweak the range a bit some more on her to figure out what the heck is going on. But now let's move on to the next section. Now, passives have been added to all the other Warframes now. You can check out a Warframe's passive by checking the abilities section in the arsenal. So all the information is there for a nice place to put it. Now I'm going to move on to a bit of information that they did put onto the forums. Nothing too concrete yet, but Limbo has been announced to actually be next on the list for a rework. Ash as well, but on the Devstream 75, Steve has confirmed that Limbo is indeed next for a rework, and they have said that the changes are going to be drastic, which I figured was going to be the case, because unfortunately a lot of people on the forums have not really fully realized the issues with Limbo. The issue with Limbo being that he's in this constant state of tug-of-war with his teammates, and it's not a very good position for anyone to be in. Basically, Limbo is a caster Warframe that does not cooperate with his teammates naturally. You have to go the extra mile. You need like raid level communication just to be able to perform something as simple as putting your gun at a group of enemies and then shooting them. So what Limbo basically does is that he takes the basic fundamentals of combat and he throws it out the window because his playstyle is a bit more tactically involved. There's a lot more decision making going on with Limbo, and unfortunately that comes at the cost of everyone else's playstyle and ability to make decisions for themselves. Limbo basically removes the agency of his teammates, and due to the mechanics of the game, or rather lack of mechanics that Limbo has, Limbo gets immediately punished if he tries to divide up enemy forces and then conquer them by focusing them down. If he uses Cataclysm, he just immediately gets shot in the face and he pretty much dies. So he needs teammates to hold his hand for him and use their abilities or tank for him to make it so that he isn't the one getting shot at. The most effective method being to use CC abilities so that enemies are completely unable to fight back. But it then raises the question, what was the point of raising Cataclysm to begin with? Also, if Limbo uses Cataclysm with teammates around, he blocks their ability to participate in combat against that group of enemies. So basically what he's done is that he has divided the enemy forces, but Limbo is still outnumbered and he's left his teammates out. So he's pretty much accomplished almost nothing in that regard. And it's very, very frustrating. Limbo is only operating with like half of his kit right now, and it's why he needs drastic changes. All of his abilities need to be addressed. Rift Surge is getting removed. I'm not going to be too worried about it so long as they implement maybe something akin to an auto banish feature, I believe is what is needed. Because then this way, Limbo is able to cooperate with his teammates without completely overriding their playstyle and forcing his overly tactical mind games onto his team when they don't want to do it. His team is mainly there just to run around and just point their guns at things and shoot them. Limbo is all about thinking about the consequences of his actions and making snap decisions, and as of right now, Limbo cannot do that without completely destroying his teammates' enjoyability of the game. So the only other option is for Limbo to be courteous. Now, the problem with Limbo being courteous is that he's not really a frontline fighter. He's more of this supporty-like frame. He's very support-like frame. He doesn't have very straightforward combat abilities. And because of this, Limbo has to be using his abilities in order to turn the tables back into his favor. But the problem with that is that if you have a Warframe that is a better team player and is more effective when he isn't using his powers and he's a caster, well, he's shooting himself in the foot now, isn't he? And it really isn't fair for either party. It's not fair for the players, it's not fair for the teammates, it's not fair for Limbo. I'm quite ready for him to be changed. I'm looking forward for his changes. I'm not worried about what they're going to do to him because there's really not much else they can do to hurt him at this point. He's been getting so many nerfs. So I have full confidence that DE is actually going to fix him. I believe by this point they're very well aware of his issues. They are very well aware of what the community thinks of him. And I'm pretty sure they're not going to completely change his playstyle. They have a good concept going on. Having a Warframe that's able to shrink the size of the enemy forces at any time, which therefore reduces the amount of potential damage you can take, is very handy. The problem is that it's like a car, but the car doesn't have any wheels, so the car doesn't go anywhere. And that's kind of Limbo in a nutshell right now. He's a very nice car, but the car doesn't have any wheels, so you can't really do much with him. So I believe that's what the rework is mainly going to do. The rework is most likely going to give him more functionality to all of his abilities. I am curious to what Rift Surge is going to be replaced with, but unfortunately there really isn't any other information other than Rift Surge is going to get removed. No information on whether or not it's going to get rolled into the Rift. Speaking of which, I'm pretty sure it's very likely that the Rift may receive some tweaking as well. I'm very, very excited for his changes. I don't believe I'm going to be disappointed. So I hope you're all looking forward to Limbo's changes. I'll be on the lookout for more information. Thank you all so much for watching. I will see you all next time. Later!